some of our secondary schools. And Ms. Phelps, I just realized you're in the room, can probably speak to that as well, about some consultants that are coming in at the middle and high school to work with them as well. Do you want to?
We do. We work very closely with First District Reset as well as with several consultants through William Consulting and Learner's Advantage to help support our teachers on the new standards in math and ELA, so not just in math. Math is one of the areas that we're spending a little bit more time with. We even had a training not too long ago where our administration in our buildings and our district level support received training on what strong instruction looks like according to our new state standards. So what was the state release for leadership on what the instructional framework should look like in these classrooms, which is filtering down into our teacher professional learning as well. How can we develop strong lesson plans that align to the way the standards are now written so that our students receive the best environment possible for success? I know Dr. McDaniel has also been working towards getting training for building seniors. I might be speaking over them. For getting support with closing the gaps. So really being able to say, okay, where did our students go? Where are they coming from? And we need to reach and make sure that we give them the best teaching strategies that you were just talking about as aligned to the new standards. We want to make sure we stay on top of that and not use traditional strategies that might work really well when we were coming through. We have a whole new group of students. The students we teach now are not the same that students that we were coming up, so we need to be using the best strategies possible. So we're continuing to grow that professional learning and those relationships. We can get that support in here and give our teachers those strategies.
And to be fair, you know, we just went back this past year to the district-wide collaboratives. And so providing that support for our teachers district-wide, and the same support to our teachers district-wide in helping to just really break down the standards into what we were talking about a few minutes ago. What is it that our kids are required to know how to do? Not just facts, but the processes and the thinking and, you know, all those things that are involved. And so, you know, I want to give credence too to the hard work that our collaboratives have, the efforts that have gone into those collaboratives over the past year, and the plans for those collaboratives to continue on to this year. And to be fair, we've broken down a lot of silos in the past year. Our schools are, and our teachers are, primarily because of these collaboratives, they're sharing and learning together from each other. And I think that goes a long ways too, because we've got to have supports out there for our new teachers. We've got lots of new teachers. Every year we have new teachers. And if we don't build a cadre of support for them, we'll always be starting over. So that's you know, one of the big goals with the collaboratives.
And I will say this, math today is strongly reliant on the ability for students to read. I would say 90% of a test is word problems.
It is.
90% of a test is
Minimal.
would be minimal.
Minimal.
Would be word problems. So they've got to be able to read in order to be able to know what the question is actually asking for.
They have to read, and then they have to be able to process multi-steps. It's not read the word problem, pick out okay, what's the equation, what are the numbers, let me add or subtract it. It's do that, and then do this, and then do this. And they do have to pick that out through reading. It's pretty tightly integrated these days.
Yes.
Any
Aside from just math, didn't we go back to more pencil and paper
We
this
have.
school year? Like we've cut back on
And
the
I think you'll see,
Chromebooks to like 15 minutes per day or so, or that might.
it varies
I
across
mean, I
the
have an 8th
schools.
grader that complains about her hand hurting all the time. I'm
Right.
like, No, but
I can guess which
That is
school
good.
she's at. It varies by school, but every school, every classroom has really amped up the accountability for if we're using a Chromebook, why are we using that Chromebook?
And that'll help with curriculum retention and everything
Absolutely,
too.
absolutely, because we know technology has a place,
Absolutely.
but we have to have a purpose for using it. And I know the school you're talking about, and I was there when it was discussed with the faculty. And I was like, yay, good for y'all. But I think it's going on in other places as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Dr. Enfield?
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to zero period weightlifting, and I think Dr. McDaniel has some information for us that I have asked him to gather regarding this.
All right, so I kind of really know where to start with this. I'm gonna take off on the pros and cons, and it's kind of some of the things that we've spoken with the coaches about, the athletic director as well, and we've got input from our student athletes. So kind of just want to run through some pros and cons, some of the stats that I have, and then some of the things that we're doing to try to address the needs of student athletes to be able to get weightlifting and or be able to complete pathways and be able to have electives in the school. Some of the pros that the zero period brings is opportunity for pathway completion and elective options and schedules. I think one of the big things is if a kid has a band class or an athletic weight training, that they're in that weight training or band class year round. So we know that limits them a little bit. So zero period would definitely promote an elective opportunity for students during the day. They could also graduate early. So some students, maybe don't want to accelerate a career or maybe it's, aspiring to play sports or something, would be able to graduate a little bit early if they wanted to. And we have a few students that do that now, but it may enhance that ability. It could lift student failure some. So you could actually have less failures probably because of students being not as tired from lifting weights during the school day. They can lift before school, get a meal, get dressed, go to class, and have a little more
because I truly cared about what those kids were gonna do with their future when that final whistle blows. Kids that we hear Bob call out on Friday night, rushing 100 yards or 200 yards, and then they look, what am I gonna do when I graduate? And I pick up the paper, I look on Facebook, and they've been arrested for burglary or something. But it's important that they had that team concept, that they were in there in weight training with the whole team. But my campaign was on the whole child. And that, I'm talking about the whole child. We need to figure out a way to make something happen, something work, so that we've got a kid that I think is taking HVAC. And not sure whether that kid's gonna be able to do weight training or not, because it's not there. Do we have any coaches say that they would be willing to do it?
No, ma'am. We didn't have anybody that would come, or when I asked, or we polled them, they weren't interested.
I'm gonna ask again. I talked to Ms. Williams about this. We have teachers that are on extended day. I know that they have been put in different positions, such as, what were those positions you told me about, Ms. Williams, that those people on extended day been put in?
Well, we do have, they cover for the ISS teacher to have a block of planning and study skills, and then if we need an extra segment of math or lit or history, whatever, we do. It's cheaper to do that than to hire a whole nother teacher, because we just need one extra block. So,
Now, those that are doing ISS are those that are doing study skills. You know, my question is, would we not have anybody else in the building that would be willing to do study skills, and that person, you know, would be in the weight room, that coach would be in the weight room and do the weight training, you know, during that time? I just feel like that we have got to find a way to help these kids to be successful once they, you know, get through doing whatever they're gonna do for us and representing our school system. We've got to find a way. On the falling asleep, I coached kids, and we had practice at 6 o'clock in the morning, not 7, 6. I had a teacher came to me and had a very good rapport, and my teachers always have, and said that so-and-so is falling asleep in class. I said, we hadn't practiced in 2 days. Has he fell asleep the other 3 days? Oh, no, he was very alert those days. But on the days that we had early practice, kid did not fall asleep in class. He fell asleep on the days that we did not have early practice, because his body was stimulated and ready to go. And I understand, my nephew did the same thing. I took them to zero period, and one of your assistant principals, Mike Ward, would go in there with them first thing in the morning, and they would do their weight training for football. Same situation, he came and says, Auntie, I don't fall asleep first period anymore. Scientifically proven. But I just want us to really look into this. Also, I was gonna ask about, rather than it be a unit class and they have to, you know, get there 6:15 or whatever, rather it being a unit class, why could it not be a skinny where they either, you can, they take it all year long, or they take it one semester and get a half a unit for it, and if they don't have to take it the second semester, they don't have to take it second semester. They could take regular weight training with their group.
All right, so you lost me on that one. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Say that again, because
We call it, where I was at, we called it a skinny.
Yeah, I understand the concept.
You know
The skinny
what
would be
I'm
a
talking-
45 and a 45.
Right.
So you would work out 45 minutes and then go to another class for 45 minutes is what we have a skinny, because we're on
Right.
semesters.
Right.
No, I think, now, correct me if I'm
Well-
wrong, but when you said 15 to 20 years ago, y'all were on 7-period day here,
6.
6-period day?
6.
So
Yeah.
that is a 50 to 55-minute
Right.
period, where we're an hour and a half right now, so.
But if you're doing zero period, none of the other classes really have, because it's an extra class. So none of the other classes would have to be a skinny. You follow what I'm saying? If you have a zero period class, that is a class, that is an entity within itself.
Right.
So that kid could take that for half a unit first semester. If they want to take it for a half a unit second semester, they could take it for half a unit second semester and come up with a full unit, kind of like a year concept.
Yeah, it'd be a full, so you'd have an A concept, or A period and a B, A segment first semester, B segment second semester.
Yes.
So it would only be a 45 to 50-minute class versus an hour and a half.
No, we can make it an hour. We can make what we want to make it. We can make it an hour class instead of an hour and a half to give them enough time to really get in, you know, their weightlifting and everything.
It would, all right, I mean, we can look into that.
I mean, it's just something to look at. I know I'm
Right.
throwing a lot at you right now and everything, and I should have talked to you as well.
It would've been easier
and
for me to have a
everything.
conversation with you, yes, ma'am, but I'm trying. I promise, I'm
Yeah,
trying.
yeah.
Do any other board members have any input or questions?
So are you saying that the zero period would be voluntary, or they would be assigned to that as a class? I was confused.
Okay, what I mean by, no, what I
No,
mean, no,
can't.
it's a,
They're not gonna be committed to meeting.
no, that's not what I mean. What I mean by that is it's an elective class, okay? And it's an elective class that is made available for those students who, they may be an AP. I was told there was a conflict with AP as well. They're an athlete, they're an AP, and they need weight training, but their AP class conflicts with that weight training class. They would be able to come and sign up for zero period as a class. It would be a class, an academic class, and they will be required to come, just like, you know, a lot of kids will carpool with each other. You know, they'll do that kind of thing. So that's what I mean by voluntary. It's not a class like freshman physical education. You're required to have that. I'm able to sign up for it
elective.
as an elective. Yes, it's an elective class.
So the question that comes to my mind then is, to fund a teacher, do you have to have a certain number of students in there?
We typically try to fund a teacher, we have to have a minimum
I mean,
class
that's what I
size.
always.
I get that and I understand that. But y'all, I'm gonna say it because I can. We find funding for a lot of stuff, for a lot of things. And they're not people. We find funding for a lot of stuff, a lot of things. If I got 10 kids to say, I need to take this class because I need to go to AP, or I need to go over to the Coastal Pines to take a class, it's well spent. It is well spent. I understand numbers. On average, a person that decided they would do that for an extended day supplement or salary, and that, I'm probably higher than I'm stating. I know when I did it, I told you I've been around a long time. When I did it, it was $7,500 was added to my pay, $7,500.
It depends on the degree and the years of
I
experience.
had a master's degree with about 22 years.
So my-
And I went to Liberty County, who also paid more. So it's based on my degree. We don't pay as much as they do. So that's the reason why I say I'm probably stating higher than it is. I don't think, do we have anybody on the football or basketball or baseball with a doctorate degree right now?
Kayla Hobbs.
Kayla,
Coach Hobbs is Dr.
yeah, Kayla
Hobbs.
just got her, yeah,
Dr.
Kayla just got
Broadhead,
her,
when he was in
hers.
cross-country.
Dr. Broadhead was also.
Yeah, Dr. Broadhead, yeah, our cross-country, but he's not doing cross-country anymore.
No,
So
he
we
was.
don't have anybody that would fall into that doctoral degree other than Coach Hobbs, which she's not coming because she's got two little ones that she's got to get on the bus and wherever, and I understand that. But I just want you to just kind of have an open mind and look at it a little bit more. I'm a little passionate about it.
My thinking in saying what I said about
You know, don't,
having, my thinking in saying what I said about having to pay a teacher for have an X amount of students is the feasibility of what you might have to pay a teacher for if only 2 or 3 students show up. Are you getting your money's worth I understand what you're saying. You got 3 students it is. But feasibility wise, for what you're gonna have to pay that teacher, if the students are saying they don't wanna do it, that's what I heard. Majority of students said they don't wanna do this.
The
So if they
majority
don't
are not
want
gonna wanna
to,
do it.
and they don't show up, now you're gonna pay this teacher, this supplement or whatever it winds up having to be for 2 or 3 students. That's what I was saying. Yes, sir.
So the first issue is we don't have a teacher, right? Is that what you're
We
saying?
don't have a coach.
So we don't have a coach. We don't
pulled
have-
It's gotta be a
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah, so we
It's
don't
gotta
have.
be somebody
well,
that
I was
knows what they're
just
doing.
saying it as a classroom setting, so we don't have a coach to teach it. So that would be the first hurdle we have to get over if we're gonna try to go through this. And then second, if we need enough attendees, what would it hurt to offer it to the whole school? Maybe a kid that's taking,
Yeah.
not just athletes, maybe it's somebody that wants to leave at lunch or, has a job after school or what, I mean, because if you're talking about the whole student, well, like there's a lot of people that have to go to the gym before work. I mean,
Yeah.
I just trying to see if we can touch some kid and help them be able to achieve a goal during their small season at Wayne County High School, to help them. Maybe they have to help a parent do something with a sibling after school or something, just like all kind of 1,000 different genres of scenarios. But also on the flip side, like I have to agree with Coach, because my freshman year of college, I was told to be at weightlifting at 5 o'clock if I wanted to play. Here's your scholarship, here's your academics, you come to weightlifting, or all that's taken away. So because it's not, sports is an extracurricular activity, it's like, that's just a small season in life. Like you don't, on a chart, it's like this much of your life. Now we're way down here as adults. But what you learn in that time frame, character, accountability, don't procrastinate. Hey, you got to get your butt up. Because I know for a fact I could possibly be one of those kids that go off to college from small town Jessup. And I don't have good time management. And I didn't have good character and all that kind of stuff. So I ended my butt up right back here. But, so I can see it both ways. But, I think we get a little too far here and there. I mean, if we really want to look at this thing again, I think we need to honestly look at
think
how
so,
do we
too.
get a coach? And then if we can get a coach, okay, how do we get enough kids that want to buy into this and actually use it? Don't just come up here wanting to hang out. Like when you walk in these doors, you're gonna go to work. You're gonna put some weight on your back and you're gonna squat down and have to think about your life to stand back up. It builds character skills. But in the world we live in, physical education, weightlifting, all that's really important to me. And it should be to everybody. Health is wealth. So you can touch a lot more than just athletes. And who's to say that you won't create an athlete from a kid that isn't used to doing it? But instead of sitting up here for the majority of the evening talking, can we just say, hey, let's get a coach. Let's find out a way to get enough participants, and then let's look at it again.
Could I say one thing?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
I didn't have any much, Ms. Williams just said, see
No, it's
what the
fine.
zero
Yes, sir.
period is, and so I pulled the coaches, I didn't get outside of that.
Yes, sir, it's
So
fine.
We can go back and go wider, I just didn't, I took what I thought we were looking for
Yes,
and
sir.
getting information from
That's totally
I think
coaches and
understandable.
athletes at that point. I
Include all the
didn't take it
Yes,
wider.
sir.
So we can definitely, I understand what you're saying, we can try to, start working through that and see what we can do.
Dr.
Yes, sir.
McDaniel, I'm just gonna say one thing and appreciate what you're doing. Stanford University and Notre Dame University, from a sports medicine and sports psychologist, wrote several articles on early weightlifting, to where it stimulates muscle growth, blood flow, mental awareness, and the list goes on and on and on. Mr. Yarborough and I work out at 5, sometimes 5:30 in the morning. It stimulates my day. Now, that's me, because I'm old, and I'm trying to stimulate myself to that day so I don't fall down. Point I'm making is there's several publicized articles out there that talk about early workouts of how mental awareness, particularly in D1, D2, D3 athletes, that appear actually better in a classroom because they have stimulated their body to elevate it than rolling out of the rack throwing a biscuit in their mouth and putting on some sweat clothes and rolling into a classroom. So there's things we can look at, is what I'm saying, that could support both sides of it. That might help you out to come to a conclusion.
I feel like I took this in the wrong direction, so I apologize. 'Cause
No, not at all.
I talked about it,
No,
it was just-
Good information.
I'm gonna apologize.
Nothing
because
whatsoever, sir.
I should have also, because that's your school, and I should have also included you in the loop of the discussion about, you know, what was going on, what my thought process was, but I was just asking questions. You know,
The original
everything, so-
conversation was to have 0-period weightlifting for athletes.
That's what I thought
So that's
we
why
were-
we gathered that
That's what I
information.
thought. When
Right.
she and I discussed it, I thought we were looking at athletes, so I
No.
may have brought the wrong information. but
Sir, you're fine. And this is just, this is a conversation we're all having right now, like,
We can definitely
like
go
Ms.
wider.
Daniels and Ms. Yarber said. We're kind of just building a foundation to see what's going to happen. We're just putting a board in the dirt, and it's your school?
We'll build it if they come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. So.
All right, we'll get back to work on it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Gotta get my vehicle. Yeah.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is board policy manual review, and we have several policies to go through. This is our first reading, but again, this is part of the GSBA review of our policy manual. So we're gonna start with policy DC, annual operating budget. GSBA is recommending that we rescind this policy. We're gonna replace it with the next one that we talk about, but this is, there are two different policies that kind of talk about two different things, but we can wrap two policies into one and cover that in policy DCK, which is the next one. So rescind DC, policy DCK is level of budgetary control, and it includes the wording that we will adopt an annual budget and the level of control that the board allows the superintendent to have in preparing and overseeing the budget. The next one is policy DCL fund balance, and they just suggested some different wording, some more concise wording on that policy. You'll see there's suggested wording in green. The pink color is what we previously had, and it's marked out. Nothing changing to the substance of the policy, just making it a little bit more concise. DFC federal funds, same concept there. No change to the substance of the policy, just rewording it so that it's a little bit more understandable for the reader. I have all these letters. DFK is a new policy suggested by GSA, and it is gifts and bequests, and it talks about accepting gifts or donations as a school board or a school or an individual employee. It does establish a requirement that employees who wish to solicit web-based donations of funds, which they call crowdfunding, has to obtain approval from the superintendent or designee before they can launch. Those are the GoFundMe or those types of funding requests. And y'all just stop me if you have questions, because I'm gonna keep rolling, because there's a lot of them.
On that one, we're gonna make sure and ensure that our employees understand that one.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, we will.
Okay.
Policy DI is another new policy, accounting and reporting. And it's basically stating that we're gonna comply with GASB, Georgia Accounting, or Governmental Accounting Standards. And that I will make a report, or my designee will make a monthly financial report to the board. DIC is inventories, and this is a review. We just recently updated this one, so there's no suggested changes to this policy. DIE, fraud prevention. just some changing in the wording there to make it a little bit more understandable for the reader. The changes are in green, the strike through in pink are the items that they're removing, or suggesting to remove. DJCB is revised only with the item there, struck out. We do not share in the cost to any individual employee and their benefits. Comment out, or that sentence out. That was-
Sure did. Literally.
Maybe that's not a bad, that's not a bad.
Somebody
Yeah,
that's a
don't
bad
use that
word.
word. Let's not use that word.
You might have got it with that umbrella.
DJ EAC purchasing or credit card is revised. The only change there is that we did mark out board members because board members are not issued individual purchasing cards.
I need to check on Todd. That was close.
That's what I said.
He might.
He's out there with an umbrella.
He went to
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I'll lock back in. All right, I'm focused. Here we go.
DJED, bids and quotations, we recently updated that, so there were no changes to that policy. DK, student activities funds management, this is a new policy suggested, and again, this are the student activity funds held at the school where they have their separate checking account. This is just so that we're in compliance with GASB 84. DO, school properties disposal procedures. This is a revision. Again, some rewording there just to make it a little more clear. EBB, safety, they're recommending that we rescind this policy because this is an administrative function that we do. It's not needed as a policy. EDC, transportation safety is a new policy. And it's just some guidelines for our bus drivers and one of the things that is required here, our bus drivers are required, all of our employees are required to go through the personnel handbook and sign off that they understand the contents of the personnel handbook. But bus drivers will be required to sign off that they understand the student code of conduct so that they can apply rules on the bus. So that's a new policy. EDDA is a special use of school buses. We're going to rescind that one because that is an administrative function. Policy's not required. EEE is just a review. We recently updated this policy just in May of this year, so there are no changes to that one. And FDC, naming facilities, is a review, and there are no suggested changes to that policy. This is our first reading, and we will approve these at another board meeting. Do you have any questions on those? Okay, moving right along to financial management. It's frozen.
Okay. They got these tanning bed boards and these lights.
You got some technical difficulty, but you have the reports in front of you, and hopefully I won't say anything to get to have it shoot down again on us. But all right, so we're going to look at the general fund first, and so this is just like every month. We have the budgeted revenue, budgeted part there, our year-to-date activity, and our remaining budget. The revenues are at the top. Expenditures broken down by department are in the middle, and then the same information broken down by object code are at the bottom. Our ending fund balance as of June 30th, and these are the interim June 30th financial reports. We will present the final reports for you at the next meeting. But the ending fund balance is $22,490,342.99.
I will add that that number is very inflated because we have not accrued the July and August salaries on these records, so we don't anticipate that to be our ending fund balance, so just keep that in mind.
Is there still a possibility of us having to pay what we were waiting on the tax adjustment or something?
We did return a little over $1 million to the county, and there is a delay in the tax digest, so there will be a delay in tax bills going out, which will be a delay in us receiving the bulk of our ad valorem revenue.
So we may need this 22 million.
It won't be that large of a number.
Some serious rain out there.
Have they gave us an update on that digest?
No, sir, I haven't heard anything.
I don't know that they have a clue yet when it's gonna
We
be.
don't.
All right, if you'll see in the remaining budget, you'll notice there's several negatives there. There are a few other budget amendments that I plan to do. We did have to do a journal entry. It was $170-something thousand for our on-behalf payments for teacher retirement and public school employment retirement. We'll do a budget amendment to correct some of that. And then there's a few other charges in June for our insurance claims that we did with GSBA. And so I'll finalize that last claim, do that budget amendment, and a majority of that will fall into the maintenance department budget. And then there's some other grants that we're going to do some amendments on, so some of those negatives will shore up. But just in summary, some of these are due to our purchase services. You know, we've mentioned before, our All Clean services, our ESS services. We had a $40,000 fuel pump that we had to pay for that was not budgeted. Down there in the middle section for central support services, that negative, excuse me. Let's start with the first one. In pupil services, that negative $310,000. That's primarily salaries, benefits. There is some supplies involved in that as well. In our central administration, that negative there is again some salaries and benefits. There's also some travel and communication charges. The maintenance and operations department, that includes maintenance as well as our school safety. We had some equipment there. That's where we budget all of our SRO officers. So those are some of the reasons for some of the negatives on the first page. And the second and third page of the report just breaks down the general fund budget further. So I'll give you a moment or two to look at that.
I will point out under pupil support services salaries, a good bit of that will change with one of the budget amendments. We budgeted for secondary counselors to be charged instruction, and the state came back and told us to charge them to pupil support services. So there's a budget amendment coming for that. In addition, I do want to point out the transition that we had with the head football coach this year, where we were paying two salaries at once. So that's part of that overage there as well.
And we have some other expenditures like our Georgia Tap tuition, that's about $60,000. In the school nutrition there, that negative $62,000 was for the on-behalf payment that we'll do the budget amendment for. And then just basic utilities, the Canon copier rentals, and just rentals and repairs for our maintenance department, specifically with some of our vendors like Yancey for our buses. Any questions on the general fund report? All right, we'll roll into the next one, which is the capital projects and debt services. And this is all of our projects that we have so far, and so you can compare the year-to-date revenue to the year-to-date expenditures. First column is our SPLOST. The exact amount that we took in for the June SPLOST was $557,667.45. And then the final column off to the right is our bonds, the year-to-date revenue versus expenditures. The next.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting you.
You're fine.
On the textbooks, all of those textbooks did not arrive by June 30th. So you can see we didn't spend near the amount that we budgeted there. So we're gonna have to amend the FY27 budget. It's the same pot of money, but we're just gonna have to carry that over to FY27 because those textbooks did not arrive in the time frame that we thought they would.
And I've been working with Ms. Carla Ogden on that to just determine exactly what she is anticipating those charges to be and for FY '27. All right. Next report is the special revenue accounts. These are all of our accounts where we spend the funds and then we request reimbursement from the state. So we have our Title I funds, CTAE, Carl Perkins, ROTC, Family Connection, Pre-K, and School Nutrition. Again, just like the last report, you can compare the year-to-date revenue to the year-to-date expenditures. And then our final report is our school activity report. This is showing at year end. You can see that all of our schools are in the positive. I do want to point out that negative for Arthur Williams. Please don't let that alarm you. That is due to our middle school athletics consolidation. And so if you look at Martha Puckett right next to it, you see that those funds were absorbed into Martha Puckett. So, but all schools ended the year in the positive.
One of the things that we did with the middle school sports, we had one school bookkeeper keeping up with maybe soccer, cheerleading, and football, and the other school bookkeeper was keeping up with other sports. Well, we decided just to move all of those accounts to one of the schools, and because the coaches would change, and then it would create an issue for the football coach to be at Arthur Williams, but the accounts at Martha Puckett. So we put them all at one school, and so that they could just be maintained by one bookkeeper.
It's a lot of internal
So
work
they
on
all
our part,
different,
but
they were able to maintain their accounts,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, individual accounts.
there's a lot of internal work, but so far, it's been a real seamless transition in the consolidation, so. Any questions about the reports? All right, thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve the interim June 2026 financial report as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The Wayne County BOE will enter into executive session to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee, or to interview applicants for the position of the superintendent, as described in OCGA 50-14-3. Other matters considered or discussed may include negotiations, land, real estate appeals, school safety plans, and legal matters. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have a motion to enter back into open session?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Personnel, I have community coaches as well as recommendations. Community coach list for 2026-2027. Paul McDuffie, WCHS Volleyball, Anniston Westbury, Middle School and High School Cheerleading, Trey Jackson, Middle School Football, Sarah Yarborough, Middle School Volleyball and Cross Country, Brianna Falk, Middle School Girls Basketball, Shonda Lopez, Middle School Girls Basketball, Joel Sikora, Middle School Wrestling, Linward Jackson, Middle School Football Basketball, James Dover, Middle School Cross Country, Garyon Johnson, Middle School Football. Certified recommendations, Tiffany Howell, Martha Ross Smith Elementary, Adacia Jenkins, Arthur Williams Middle, Elizabeth Mosley, Martha Puckett Middle, Cynthia Reddish, Arthur Williams Middle, 49%. Certified resignations, Karsten Richardson, Arthur Williams Middle, Lydia Stone, Martha Ross Smith Elementary. Classified recommendations, Leah Brockington, District-wide Special Ed Parent Mentor, 50%. Marianne Flowers, Scriven Elementary School, 49%. Classified resignations, Courtney Kaysen, Jessup Elementary School, Kendall Henderson, Martha Puckett Middle, Teresa Linderman, Arthur Williams Middle. Do I have a motion to approve the personnel and community coach recommendations lists as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
I'm going to say, let's go home.
I'm just gonna say welcome back, and I am asking everyone to remain positive because we're gonna have a spectacular school year.
Mr. Yarborough?
Go Jackets.
There you go.
Mr. Wise?
Good luck to Miss Sharon. Thoughts and prayers to you, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you.
I don't have anything, Ms. Williams.
I do have a couple things. I had been asked about some information for our maintenance workers, and there's some misinformation out there about when they have received raises. In FY26, they did not receive a raise, but everybody got a retention incentive. In FY25, they received a 5% raise. 24, they received a 5% raise, and in 23, they received a 3% raise. So I just wanted to clear that up because I've been asked about that a few times. And the last bit of information, we will be recognizing the Teacher of the Year from each school and announcing the countywide Teacher of the Year at the football game on the 21st, and we will start that at 7 p.m. on the 21st. That's all I have.
There being no further business, I declare this meeting adjourned.
Did we get paid overtime?
No, sir.